Y'all, what is going on with Tyler Perry Studios? Like, hello world, is your girl Liz here, back with another video, and today I want to kind of go over Tyler Perry and analyze his new movie on Netflix, Mea Culpa. I had a watch of the movie and I have thoughts. So the movie stars the gorgeous Kelly Rowland, Trevante, Rhodes, Ronreiko Lee, who is a veteran, and also this super fine guy that for some reason reminds me of Barack Obama. Never seen him before. His name's Nick Sager, and his brother Sean Sager, and also the super gorgeous Shannon Thornton, who I have been saying for a long time is nobody else noticed that this is like the most beautiful woman in Hollywood right here. So I want to start off by, giving Tyler Perry his due accolades, what he has done for the film industry in Atlanta, where he has come from, that can't be denied. I work in the film and entertainment industry, and I have never heard anyone say anything bad about working on a Tyler Perry set or on a Tyler Perry movie. I've never heard anything, right? And another YouTuber that I followed said that everyone she's known that works for Tyler Perry's studios have good things to say. He obviously deserves props. However, unfortunately, I feel like Tyler Perry has passed his prime. I think that the types of movies that he makes are outdated at this point. I think that there was kind of like a golden age of Tyler Perry in the late 2000s to early 2010s, like maybe somewhere around maybe 2005 to 2010 or 11 or so. And then after that, it just kind of took a turn. I'm not gonna go over his whole catalog, but I will definitely say that the last couple movies that he's made, it's disappointing when it comes down to it. Tyler Perry is the only Tyler Perry in this business, and that for me is very disappointing. I mean, it's great that he's making the deals that he makes with these studios, with the distribution, with Lionsgate, with his Netflix deal and all this kind of stuff. I just wish there was a different kind of black super mogul producer that was producing the top quality stuff. Don't get me wrong, we have Ava DuVernay, she's fantastic. We have Anton Fuqua, we have Spike Lee's earlier stuff. There are black directors making good shit, but I think that I'm kind of sick at this point of the mediocre and the subpar stuff getting all of the glory, getting all the money, getting all the fame. Is it by design? Is it by design? I don't know. Mea Culpa was filmed last year. It took about 20 days to film, and I think that really says it all. I remember hearing about his movie Acrimony and A Fall from Grace. He usually films them in 2 weeks, which is an amazing feat. I think that goes to also why I said that I've only heard good things about people that work with him. He treats his cast and crew really well, and I think it's because he doesn't spend much time filming. When you're only spending 2 weeks filming, you can spoil the cast and crew with food and accommodations and all kinds of amazing things, because you're going to be saving millions and millions and millions of dollars by not having a super long shoot. However, it does come at a cost. If you don't spend the time to make sure the shots are right, to make sure the actors, background actors, are doing what they're supposed to do, to make sure the hair and makeup looks good, you end up with movies like A Fall from Grace, where you could see the boom pole hanging in the actually I think it was the bottom. You could see the boom pole in several of the shots. The wigs were horrible. It's like a running joke now that Tyler Perry's movies, that they don't have good wigs and makeup and all this kind of stuff, is because he doesn't spend the time doing it. Hair and makeup for people can take as long as 2 or 3 hours. If he has a 2-week deadline to film his movie, he's not going to be spending 3 hours on hair and makeup, which is kind of sad, because some of the actors that he has in his movies are really veteran people, and it makes them look bad. Listen, I'm a filmmaker myself. I don't have the biggest budget, but I'm not going to like force my actor to slap on this like sloppy ass wig that's just like, or like the other wig that was like sitting on top of their head. You know, I'm not gonna do that to them. With producers, they always trying to cut costs, they always trying to save money, and any money that they don't spend goes back to them. And I also read an article that said that for A Fall from Grace, they had to go back and re-edit the movie because of all the mistakes. And I think if anyone else watching it will remember that there were people in the background actors that were supposed to be eating food and drinking, and they were drinking out of empty cups, picking up a fork that had no food on it and putting it in their mouth, and people could see that. All those little things just make your movie seem like super low budget and super unprofessional. At a stage in his career, it's just completely unacceptable. You know, obviously Black people shouldn't be beholden to be perfect because, you know, white movies, white filmmakers, they're not perfect. All their stories are not great. However, I think if there's already a stereotype of like stuff that Black people makes is lesser quality, it's not as good, then you kind of have a responsibility to make sure your shit is all on point. There's plenty of Black filmmakers that's really doing some shit out here that's like really writing some good ass shit, and I'm just tired of sloppy half-ass work getting put out there. Like, I'm just tired of it. Everybody's gonna see this movie, everybody's gonna watch A Fall from Grace. Like, it's gonna be international. Feels like a waste. It just feels sad. It just feels disrespectful. It just feels gatekeeping. I guess that's the overall opinion of, you know, Tyler Perry. I guess how I feel about him, how I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, actually. But anyway, let's get back to this review. I know that was a long preface and opener. I just talked about all these horrible wigs, though. I want to be very clear when I say Miss Kelly Rowland was looking beautiful, gorgeous, hair, everything on point. I know that was in her contract. She said, if I'm gonna work on this movie, I'm gonna need my glam team to take care of me. Mea Culpa starts with Kelly Rowland and her husband in a therapist's office, basically getting some counseling. When that happened, I said, oh Lord, please don't let this be another story of which they tell the story of what happened after it's happened. You know, like in A Fall from Grace, Acrimony, it's like they were retelling the therapist, the one, Confessions of a Therapist or whatever, which is one of my favorites of his, by the way. So they're in a therapist's office. We find out that they have a lot of issues going on. And so then eventually they go to a dinner with his family, and she doesn't like his mother. And her husband's mother is just unbelievably caricature of an evil mother-in-law. Is another problem that I have with Tyler Perry movies, and this is actually an issue that I have had since I was a teenager, before I even knew that I would be a filmmaker or anything like that. His characters, his bad characters, are really, 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 really bad, and his good characters are really, 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 really good. It just comes off goofy. Like, it doesn't seem realistic. I feel like, does he not think that the audience is like intelligent or something? In this movie, the mother character brought some other girl who apparently she likes better than her daughter-in-law, Kelly Rowland. And so she's like, oh, I wish he would have married you. Oh, they're not doing so well. You should sit next to him. You should get to know him more. Oh, you should give, when they're leaving, oh, you should give him a hug, give him a kiss on the cheek. It was just like so cartoonishly evil. Like, I don't even think cartoons are that unassuming that the audience is an idiot. And it's something that I like to call the villain uncanny valley, which I will talk about again in another video. It basically just shows that their relationship is doing unwell. One of Kelly Rowland's colleagues approaches her and tells her that he has someone who he wants to recommend to her for her to take on as a client, because she's the best of the best attorneys, right? Now, mind you, they don't show us anything about Kelly Rowland's past, about her background, about anything. We don't know anything about her. Then she meets Trevante Rhodes and starts considering taking on his case. You know, I've seen a lot of people saying that they like his acting, they like him. I'm only familiar with him from Moonlight. I can't even really blame him though, because the script was so horrible. I didn't understand his acting in this movie. Like, he was very...
Yeah. So you're gonna represent me? Come on. I need you. I need you to represent me. I didn't do this?
I don't know what was going on there. Like, the script was bad, so it's like you can only ask but so much. I don't know, it was like his acting reminded me of like a block of wood. Imagine a block of wood trying to act a scene out. That's how he came off in the movie. As for Kelly Rowland's acting in the movie, you know, she's a beginner, which is fine. I think being a beginner and headlining a movie is crazy, but that is the business that we're in. You know, whoever has the most followers and attention is who's gonna get the role, pretty much, rather than who is the best at it. But I think she's could be going places. I'm not familiar with her career besides Destiny's Child. I guess this is her entry into acting. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing perhaps what else she can do. There's a lot of music artists that when they're done with music that they will transition into acting. I mean, she's got the looks, you know, and I think she has a good base. I don't know if maybe this role was too much of a load. Then again, the script is bad, so it's like, it's hard to really tell. It's hard to have a good gauge. So she decides to represent him, and I will say there was definitely some sexual tension and chemistry between these two that I was feeling throughout the whole movie. Like, it was so intense and good. Like, they both looked like they was having a bomb ass time that I went and looked up, is she married? Because this looks very fucking real to me. This looks really authentic, okay? It looks really, really real, okay? The middle of the movie is just them going back and forth about, will you represent me? No, I won't. I'm attracted to you. No, I'm not attracted to you. And it turns out this guy is like a sexual deviant of some kind. Not Tyler Perry hosting the freak off. He takes her to some underground freak off where it's people having sex, and off the top of my head, Tyler Perry hasn't done an erotic thriller before, but I see where he was going. I see what he was trying to do. I love those type of movies, and I actually still actively watch those types of movies. The Basic Instinct, Fatal Attraction, you know, those kind of 90s. There's another one with Demi Moore, Indecent Proposal. Robert Redford and Demi Moore, Indecent Proposal, erotic thriller, suspense. Great stuff. Like, I see what he was trying to do, but the execution, I didn't understand what he wanted us to interpret of Trevante's character. It's like, I guess he wanted us to believe he might have done it, he might not have done it. Okay, fine. Am I supposed to like this character? Like, because on one second he's trying to woo her, he's trying to bring her over, which didn't seem like it took much convincing, but then he's doing like these really repulsive, disgusting things. Like, okay, he took her to the freak off, then her friend, played by Ronreiko Lee, tries to tell her that her husband is cheating on her, and so then she decides to go back and finally sleep with Trevante Rhodes, who at the moment was already sleeping, I mean actively sleeping with another woman, like and he's looking at her like, and then he tells the girl to get off, and she goes, and where? I don't know. And then Kelly comes over and just starts hooking up with him. Like, now Ronreiko Lee, I would like to talk about him for a second. Another great actor, veteran, absolute veteran. He, in this movie, really shows you what acting is, because despite how horrible the script was, when he came on camera, it was like, okay, we got an actor on set. That's how I felt when I watched him. Like, we got actors, we got pros here. Especially because I'm starting out. I work with a lot of people who don't have a lot of acting experience, but every once in a while, you get with one of those people. This is an actor right here. They come, they're prepared, they got their lines, they know what to do. They just know. Despite how bad the script was, he was able to make it sound like it was natural. There was a couple parts though that, again, I don't understand why Tyler Perry writes like this. It's like he writes like he doesn't think that the audience is going to get it. Ronreiko's character is talking to Kelly Rowland, and he's like, you know, you're like a sister to me. We grew up together. We did all these kinds of things together. And so, you know, you never have to worry about telling me, because we just known each other for so long. And remember that time that we went through that really hard thing together? It's just like, why is he saying all this? Like, you can let us know that they've known each other. They're like brother and sister. You could have let us know that in a much more subtle way, even just the way they talk to each other. Even if he picked up the phone, he was like, hey sis, and she's like, hey, I need your help again, and he's like, oh, anything, like, what do you want, what do you need? She's like, oh, can we meet up? And he's like, all right, what time? All right, I'll come in there right now. And just by showing them interacting like that, you're showing that this guy would do anything for her without even having to say, oh, you've been like a sister to me, I would do anything for you. He didn't even have to say that. They just arranged a time to meet. He's there. Boom. We've established that these people are very close and they have a high level of trust. You don't have to like force make it very obvious and force everything, which is just something that he really does, and I'm just fucking sick of it. Okay, it was maybe like 2 years ago or so. Tyler Perry posted this video on his page that was like, he was bragging about his work ethic. Now, don't get me wrong, he does have a great work ethic.
Am I telling you this? I wrote all of these scripts by myself in 2019. What's my point? Work ethic.
But it's like, what that tells me is that you're not editing really. As a writer, you have to write stuff, you have to get it out, and then you gotta walk away. You gotta fucking walk away from it. You gotta give it time. Breathe from the shit. So then you could come back and really see what is good. Because I swear to you, like, I'll write something and then I'll come back a week later, I'm like, what the fuck is this? In a good way. Like, it changes in a good way. And like, when you're first writing something, you're like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever written. I swear to you, in a week or two later, you go back and look at the thing, you're like, this scene's probably not necessary. That dialogue does not sound right. I don't think he has people going and looking after the work and rechecking it again. After he had put that video out, everybody was saying like, it's very obvious that you wrote that by yourself. I don't know, there's really no excuse of not having help. And like, I just don't understand how these studios letting it, I guess they don't care. They just want the money. They don't care if the work is good or not. They're like, we just want returns. We want that ROI. If it's giving ROI, do whatever the fuck you want. Why is Netflix putting their name on shit like this? Like, don't get me wrong, everything in Netflix is not that great, but it's just like, it's just the visibility that he has that's like bothers me. And maybe I need to do some research, which by the time I edit this video, I'll add it in maybe, but I'm like, does he mentor anyone? Does he mentor any filmmakers? Does he like produce projects for other people? If he doesn't write it, but he just executive produces or something like that. I went on his Wikipedia page and had a little look-see. And to this day, this man has only produced one TV series, which is coming out this year in 2024. It is the only project that he has worked on where he is only the producer and he didn't also direct, write, or act in it. A lot of the stuff that he's acted in is stuff made by other filmmakers, like for example, when he was in Gone Girl or when he was in Don't Look Up. He's not helping other filmmakers get on. He's only producing, directing, and writing his own stuff. He's not producing anything else from his studio except for his own things. Because other than that, I don't really like how he's moving in that way. It's disappointing because of the visibility and the money he's getting to do this. You know, there are people that are really could be making like some crazy ass really good stuff. Eventually, Kelly succumbs to Trevante's advances, and so they have their own little freak off, and it culminates in this. It is very visually gorgeous, where they are rolling around in paint and they are having relations, paint all over their body, and they both just look gorgeous. Both of them just look gorgeous, and he is laying the pipe down, he is cleaning, he is getting in there. As we get to the end, the climax of the movie, Kelly Rowland decides to recuse herself from defending Trevante Rhodes' character. You know, she pretty much embarrasses her whole family because she slept with a client. And this is, by the way, a high-profile case. So she decides to go to the Dominican Republic to take a load off. This, I will say, this Tyler Perry movie is unlike most of them in that he has a lot of different locations. And she somehow runs into Trevante Rhodes' ex-girlfriend who he allegedly killed. She's working at the hotel. She's supposed to be Mexican, but she's working at a hotel in DR. So it's like, that didn't really make sense. Like, why does she have to be Mexican? You should have just made her Dominican. because then that would have made sense that she went back to the DR. Kelly tries to take a video of her like, oh, she's here, and then the woman sprays something in her face or something like that, and then she calls her brother-in-law, who is like the junior assistant district attorney, and she's like, oh, listen, we got to get him out of jail. Like, I found the woman that's supposed to be his girlfriend, he didn't kill her, da 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 da. I don't know, man, I'm sorry, but this shit just comes off sophomoric, man. I think about when I was in screenwriting 1, when I was like 19 or 20 years old, we wrote stuff like this. Like, as a creator, as a writer, as an actor, I don't support any actors that don't continue to work at their craft. Like, there are some actors that they have fallen off so bad, and you could tell it's because they stopped practicing. There are acting schools for celebrities, like for the top people. Like, they still do go to the best acting coaches in the game, and those are the ones that are like the really good people. But there's a lot of actors who feel like once they reach a certain point that they don't have to practice anymore, and I don't think that's true. And I think the same is for filmmakers, and the same is for writers. And you'll notice it with a lot of filmmakers, like for example Tyler Perry, and in my opinion, like I said, some of Spike Lee's later stuff, that they don't practice anymore. It's not as good as the earlier things. And so yeah, some of the stuff in the movie is just, like I said, it's just sophomoric. It's just like amateur stuff. Kelly Rowland's character decides she's gonna go back home because her creepy ass brother-in-law was like, yeah, just come home. The same one that didn't fucking like you earlier on. It's like, yeah, just come on. She goes back to the house, and then this is where, you know, all the twists and turns and plots were revealed. That the brother tried to prosecute Trevante because he slept with his wife, and he's trying to get back at him, and then he tries to kill Kelly Rowland, and the mother never really had cancer, and it's just like all this kind of weirdo stuff. Like, it just escalated into like a horror movie level. Like, escalated out of nowhere. I mean, they all did their own stunts, so it's like they can only do so much, and they weren't clever enough with the camera angles. And like movies like the Avengers or whatever, they keep the camera moving, they're this shot, this angle, so you can't see like if a punch didn't land, if you can't. They do it in that way. And I guess whoever they have over at Tyler Perry Studios, the editor, or when they filmed it, they just didn't accommodate for that. And so it ended up looking like a soap opera fight. I'm not trying to say that, you know, a lot of movies are not perfect, obviously, but it's just like these mistakes, like I said, they just seem childish, like sophomoric. I would say overall the movie did look very good though compared to his other stuff. I could tell that they were using different types of lenses. Like one part I was like, oh, are they using Cook lenses on that? Because it definitely has that kind of like Cook kind of look. Kelly Rowland, you know, eventually escapes from demonic mom and demonic brother-in-law. You know, her sister-in-law ends up getting killed. Shannon Thornton's character, why? I don't know. I think she got stabbed by the mother-in-law. So she escapes, and she's running, and then she runs into her husband, who's driving to the house, and he starts driving back to the house, and she's like, why are you driving back to the house? Like, you didn't notice he was driving back to the house the whole time? Okay, anyway, he's talking on the phone to his brother, and then she basically switches him the phone to turning on the Bluetooth in the car, which I thought that was very clever. I will admit that I thought that was very clever. And she basically hears that the brother-in-law saying, she found out everything. You need to bring her back. We need to take care of her. Then she basically crashes the car into an oncoming truck, and it seems like her husband dies, and she's able to escape. They find out what happened. They take the brother-in-law, the junior DA, to jail, and then Kelly Rowland is basically living a life of, I don't know, solitude. Trevante's character is like, hey, I'm not in jail. Thank you very much for getting me off. I would love to see you, da-da-da. She takes her phone, throws it in the garbage. Definitely love that for her in the end, that she's not like, oh, let me go run after him. That's the whole movie. I saw someone else describe it and say that Tyler Perry hates all his characters. Like, he hates his women, he hates the men. Because if you look at the men in this movie, it's a lot of dust. Kelly Rowland's husband, who's an addict and an alcoholic, who lost his job because he's an anesthesiologist and he went to work high and drunk. So he lost his job, probably lost his license, probably can never work in the medical field ever again. Then also chooses to buy his mother some super expensive watch, which he bought with money by selling her piano. She used to play piano, and he sold it in order to buy his mother, who hates her, who she also hates, a watch. Why was this in the script? Why was it necessary? It made no sense. It was just like useless. Trevante Rhodes' character, supposedly kill his girlfriend. He's got women, this woman, that woman, that he sleeps with for whatever his aims, his necessary aims. He had the ex, he had Kelly, he had the older lady who worked at the art gallery as Shannon Thornton. I mean, this guy is just slanging it all around Chicago, okay? So again, Dust, the junior prosecutor, his wife, she's cheating on him. He's just a general piece of crap because he allows his mother to talk to Kelly Rowland the way she does, and he's not very nice to her either. Dust. It's just very dusty. And so why did Kelly Rowland, why is her husband dusty, and then this other guy sleeping, she's the top criminal defense attorney in Chicago, why is she sleeping with her? I don't care how fine he is. Why is she sleeping with her client? Again, like I said, it's sophomoric. It's disappointing. It feels almost disrespectful that Tyler Perry's not putting in that effort to make sure that his shit is like we should not be able to say anything, okay? We should not be able to say anything. Bad writing is just not acceptable. This is like the third or fourth movie now that this has happened. It's just not okay. It feels sad. So I'm like, there could be so much getting done here, and it's just not. I will say the man knows how to cast some beautiful people though. Like, woo, Kelly Rowland, Shannon Thornton, Sean and Nick Sager, both those guys, Ron Rako Lee, Trevante Rhodes. Like, these people are like all 10s. I swear to God, some of the finest men I've ever seen on camera have been in Tyler Perry movies. The Confessions of a Therapist, both of those men, Lance Gross, and I don't remember the other guy's name. Okay, Idris Elba, Adam Rodriguez, okay, Shamar Moore. It's crazy. It's crazy. Boris Kojo, oh my God. This man knows how to pick the finest men in Hollywood to work his shit, okay? I'm a part of the problem because if he puts it out, I'm gonna watch it. Even if it means I gotta come on here and rant about how ridiculous it was, I'm gonna watch his shit. Yeah, I'm part of the problem because it's gonna get that ROI. And from what I understand, the movie is like the top of, you know, Netflix watch list at this point. It's like it's #1 up there. In another year to 2 years, I would say, because the last one was like 2 years ago, he'll come out with another one that's like doing the same thing, and it's like he's just gonna keep getting away with it because the ROI is there. I just asked Netflix to like, can you give some other black filmmakers a chance, like people who really take this shit seriously? Anyway, guys, that's all for this video. Please leave a comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know if you saw this movie and what you think. I would love to know about what you guys think about some of the stuff I've said. Let me know if there's any other movies you guys want me to review from a filmmaker's standpoint. And that's all.